Welcome back to County Board Wrap Up. We're going to take a look now at a few more hot topics with County Board Chair Katie Crystal and Vice Chair Christian Dorsey. Let's talk a little bit on this easing restrictions on what's called non-conforming homes. First, before we get started, what is a non-conforming home?
You know, it doesn't mean that the owners of the home have done anything wrong. It's not illegal. It's just that that home existed prior to the zoning ordinance that covers the lot designation that it has. So it's non-conforming with the zoning ordinance, not non-conforming with Arlington County.
No rule breakers.
No rule breakers. But what it has really done is limited the ability of people who own a non-conforming home to make changes to it. Because roughly speaking, generally, if you want to make a change to a non-conforming home, you need to make it conforming, which not so easy in all cases. And this really became expressly manifest with people who own duplexes, other small multifamily or two-family dwellings in certain zoning districts who wanted to just simply make modest additions to accommodate a family, and found that they couldn't do it. And we had no way to enable it, even though we all kind of agreed early on, yes, we want to make that happen. Yeah. So we had a fairly expedited process by Arlington standards to engage the public, use our Planning Commission's zoning committee, did a study, staff did tremendous work to bring us a proposal that effectively allows these homes, which were previously, once you decided that you wanted to add to it and you found out you couldn't, your only recourse was to sell and move on. Yeah. Now we're giving those families an option where singles can turn into growing families, or for whatever reason, you can make both the interior and exterior changes to your home and even modestly build it out so that you can stay there. And it can be something that contributes to our affordable housing goals, and it doesn't require any taxpayer subsidy to make it happen, which is terrific.
And I think it's important too to say, it keeps the families in these homes. It also keeps these homes in Arlington, right? When land values are as high as they are here in Arlington County, a home is not just going to lay fallow, right? You're going to have the pressure probably of a developer interest to try to acquire both halves of that duplex. It's non-conforming, so they can't build it back as a duplex with two semi-affordable halves. They're probably going to tear it down and build a very large single-family house, which is what that lot allows for. So it really is a way of preserving this option, not only for the family who currently lives in it to make it work for their needs, but to keep that, relatively speaking, more affordable ownership option within our housing stock.
Which, of course, is something we hear that we need desperately here in Arlington, is that availability of affordable housing.
And this is, I think, kind of the knife's edge of a whole body of work that we're so excited about. And our colleague, Eric, was mentioning this in his board report this month, the need to think more expansively about the types of ownership housing stock in particular that we allow throughout the county. As people point out all the time, your options, if you're looking to buy in Arlington these days, feel like an expensive high-rise condo or an expensive, very large single-family house. It disadvantages young families who maybe don't have the capital to buy in or just don't want a space that large, but it disadvantages other folks, like, for example, our retirees who are ready to downsize out of a larger house that they raise their kids in, but would like to stay in a neighborhood that's important to them. And so how do we think about legalizing, right, allowing these types of alternatives? When we say most of these duplexes are non-conforming, it means that it's hard to build a duplex in most places in Arlington County now. It's not possible to build, for example, a series of small cottages or a fourplex or sixplex. And so there is a whole body of work out there for us, and I see this action as a great way to kickstart it, about thinking about how we can legalize and introduce these alternative forms throughout the county.
Okay, well, it'll be interesting to see what folks do to upgrade or make these minor improvements to their homes as a result.
I think we probably have people who've been chomping at the bit.
I'm sure they have been.
That's right. And this actually, to staff's credit first and foremost, really, for expediting this. It takes a long time to do a zoning ordinance change in Arlington, and our staff really deserves kudos for making it happen. But a couple of owners of these duplexes really deserve kudos for digging in, doing the research, bringing it to the board's attention. It's a great example of an action that makes our zoning ordinance, I think, better, more reflective of our values, and I really believe it wouldn't have happened if it hadn't been for the advocacy of a few individuals in particular.
Okay.
And this combined with the pool, incremental steps, the zoning ordinance is quite big, so doing comprehensive reviews of it are not really possible. So you have to take surgical strikes when you can. But it's a recognition that Arlington has changed a lot since the zoning ordinance was created. And even though we've made changes over the years, there's still a lot of legacy issues which very much reflect a less developed, broad suburban sensibility as opposed to moving us close to the fairly urbanized core that we've become.